What's going on? It is the OCPD coach helping individuals like you improve your relationship with progress in your life. And I really quickly wanted to talk about my beautiful, lovely, amazing, sweet, socially anxious wife. And the video that I think is going to be something different, but pretty insightful. Honestly, I do. I will tell you this much. I had no idea what social anxiety was. About this light makes me look, it looks like my skin's changing colors. So let me go back real quick. Bear with me, bear with me, bear with me, bear with me. This is part of what we do. We have to make sure everything looks good. Red is not bad. We can do red. All right, we'll do red. Red, and we'll do red here. I was trying to do colors for my lady, but the colors made me look a little crazy. So we won't do those colors. We'll do blue is decent, right? We can do red. We can do red. That's good. I like the red. It's like it's Valentine's Day all over again, right? But no, this is the thing. I had no idea what social anxiety was. My wife was the first person that I ever met who had social anxiety diagnosed, and it made everything click. It was so interesting. I want to talk to you all about what it's like being in a relationship with somebody who has social anxiety, as somebody who does not have social anxiety. As far as I'm aware, I don't have it based off how it's described. And I also just think it's so interesting, really quickly, how we can deal with these disorders and deal with the side effects of these disorders for our entire lives and never even know we have a disorder, and that a lot of the things that we are doing fit inside of the check boxes for these disorders. That's how it was with my ADHD, my OCPD. I haven't really seen it with my OCD. I think it's something different. They said I have OCD, but I don't know if it's that as much. But my wife, when we watched the video, I think it might have been Dr. K's video from the Healthy Gamer GG, and we watched the video about social anxiety. It was like, yo, what? I just learned something about you that I didn't know. So I I really do want to make this video for people who might have social anxiety, be dealing with it, have no idea that you have it, and be wondering what you can do in a relationship and what your significant other can do in a relationship to make it a smooth transition, or a smooth, not even transition, a more optimal situation for both of you and everybody involved. So just reading it right from, I'm going to pull up the Mayo Clinic real quick because I can't see without my glasses. So I'm going to put my glasses on. And let's see if we can see. Oh, wow, look at that. Glasses do work. So let's pull this up real quick. Let's pull up my screen capture and pull this up. And no, that's not going to work. I lied. I will have to set something up for the screen capture to work. So we won't worry about that. What I'll do is, with my glasses on, I'll read it, and then we can talk about it. So social anxiety from the Mayo Clinic. Symptoms: feelings of shyness or discomfort in certain situations aren't necessarily signs of social anxiety disorder, particularly in children. Comfort levels in social situations vary depending on personality traits and life experiences. Some people are naturally reserved and others are more outgoing. So that is just a disclaimer that you might not have social anxiety just because you exhibit some of the traits that you might hear. But let's go ahead and keep going. In contrast to everyday nervousness, social anxiety disorder includes fear, anxiety, and avoidance that interfere with relationships, daily routines, work, school, and other activities. Social anxiety disorder typically begins in the early to mid-teens, though it can start sometimes younger in children or in adults. And I'm writing notes down about my wife reading these symptoms. So let's go into it now. Emotional and behavior symptoms. Signs and symptoms of social anxiety disorder can include constant fear of situations in which you may be negatively judged, worry about embarrassing or humiliating yourself, intense fear of interacting or talking with strangers, fear that others will notice that you look anxious, fear of physical symptoms that may cause you embarrassment, such as blushing, sweating, trembling, or having a shaky voice, avoidance of doing things or speaking to people out of fear of embarrassment, avoidance of situations where you might be the center of attention, anxiety in anticipation of a feared activity or event, intense fear or anxiety during social situations, analysis of your performance and identification of flaws in your interactions after a social situation, expectation of the worst possible consequences from a negative experience during a social situation. And they have a lot of other physical symptoms, but let me skip to the part that I think is most pertinent to us in our conversation. Avoiding common social situations. Common everyday experiences may be hard to endure when you have social anxiety disorder, including interacting with unfamiliar people or strangers, attending parties or social gatherings, going to school or work, starting conversations, making eye contact. Put that in there. Dating, entering a room in which people are already seated. Mm. Returning items to a store. Mm. My wife didn't even know about that one. We never talked about that. Eating in front of others. Using a public restroom. Wow. Social anxiety disorder symptoms can change over time. When to see a doctor, all of that good stuff. We're back. I'm back. I take these off now because I don't need them to talk to you. But that was a lot. That was a mouthful, right? And I was taking notes to explain some of the symptoms my wife deals with. She deals with a good amount of them, but I took down some of the key ones. Eye contact was one of the things that popped up immediately for me. When my wife and I started talking and starting dating, I would notice that when she would talk, she would not look me in my eyes. She would always look away from me, especially when she would be explaining things. She would look away and explain her situation and do it like this. But it would hardly be a situation where she would look you in your eyes and say, baby, this is how I feel and this is why I feel this way. And I used to actually ask her, I say, can you look me in my eyes? Can you look me in my eyes? And I tell my son the same thing when we talk. Just look me in my eyes when we talk. It's more intimate to me. This is before I knew about social anxiety. We had the situation of, excuse me, eating in public. She doesn't like to eat, so anytime we go to restaurants, she always orders her food to go. Anytime, so it could be morning, night, afternoon. She's just not really the type of person that likes to eat. So it was really weird for me when we first started dating because I like to eat. I'm the type of person where if I go somewhere, I like my food to be fresh. I don't like to get my food and have to warm it up. And I would sit there and eat with her not eating and feel bad and say, man, now I'm just here eating by just eating. I'm the only one eating. It just looks bad. It got a lot better when I learned about the social anxiety. And then when I learned about when we had my son, he started eating. Because now I'm not the only one. At least my son eats with me. So it's not just one person eating. And she takes her food and normally will eat later in the day. She'll eat right before bed or something. Another one on here, which was surprising to me, returning items to a store. I never thought about this one, but this is something weird for me too, but it's not because of social anxiety for me. I just don't have energy. I don't have energy to go to somewhere and deal with the whole process of returning something. I'd rather just take the loss on whatever it is. And I know that risk when I buy stuff. So I already come with the risk of if I buy it and it doesn't work, you're going to have to just take the loss on it. But my wife is like this. I know she's like this when if a place gets her order wrong, she would like for me to talk to the people and fix it or just handle whatever the situation is to correct it for her. And I never even thought about that as a thing for social anxiety. I was going off of what my wife was telling me in the video we watched, but I just got a lot more information reading that Mayo Clinic information for myself. The next thing on here is talk forward. As I mentioned, talking forward. There were times when my wife would actually be texting. She would text folks and ask me about the text that she would send before she sent them. Not because she was trying to be nosy or messy or anything, but it's just that she didn't trust that she was saying the right thing that wouldn't trigger somebody or make somebody upset. And it was so interesting because when ChatGPT came around, she stopped having to do that. And then I realized that she is able to filter her conversation. So she says what she wants to say and she filters it to ChatGPT. But I remember a time where she used to actually ask me to paraphrase her statements for her, and I would tell her, I don't talk like a woman. I don't talk like a woman, so it's going to sound like me. If you say, all right, appreciate you, good looking, it's going to sound like a man talking, not a woman. So that was a really fun thing, and she still does this. If she orders food and she wants them to make adjustments to her menu item, so if she's ordering from Buffalo Wild Wings and she wants her wings to be fried hard, no sauce, she will ask me to call the place or give me the number or give me the phone. If she's having food delivered, she will give me the phone to talk to the people about the delivery. And it'll just hit me out the blue. I'll be brushing my teeth like, and then it's, baby, I need you to talk. So for me, it's something that I've gotten used to. But again, it all goes back down to social anxiety. Another thing on there that was really big that we've had disagreements about it because I didn't understand what it was. But not going to social events and gatherings. For me, I'm the type of person where I like to be active in community. I like to be active amongst people. And I get invited to things. So when I get invited to things, I like to come with my wife. You know, I got a beautiful wife I'm proud of. Love to show her off and bring her and build memories with her as a family. But there would be events where every time it was time for the event, something would happen. She wouldn't feel well or whatever the case might be. It would normally be I don't feel well of some capacity. And I started just getting upset because, okay, now I'm able to track. I keep track of people's behavior. And when something keeps happening, I don't believe in coincidences. I start to get suspicious. And I started saying, look, this is not making sense to me. Every time it's an event, it's something going on. And we had a whole conversation about it. And that's when I think she found out about the social anxiety. And when we watched the video, it made a lot of sense. So now what I have to do is build her confidence before we go to the event that is going to be worth her going. And that is really, really helpful when we've been able to do multiple events using that approach and using that logic. But this is the other side of it that I think is so funny. Disappearing is what I did not see them list, and this is my wife. If they had a character, Flash, I guess is a good one, but Miles Morales, how Miles Morales goes invisible, you would think that my wife had the powers of Miles Morales, because we'll be at an event or we'll be at somebody's house or we'll be anywhere and everything will be cool, and next thing you know, my wife is gone. And it's I know where she went because she always tells me where she went, but she'll just disappear and she will stay gone the whole time. And this happened a couple times. I think the most prominent time, we were at church one time and I wanted her to just meet some folks. I met a lot of folks being involved in church, and I said, baby, you got to come meet some of the people that I've been able to touch and just have impact in their lives. Because of course you want your wife to hear about the accomplishments or whatever it might be, just the praise. You want your wife to see that the time that she's sacrificing has been worth it, and you want your wife to be proud of you. But I remember I tried to introduce her to a few folks. She met like two of them, and then next thing you know, she's like, I gotta go pee, baby. I gotta go pee. And I'm like, okay, bathroom's right here. She's like, no, that bathroom is too long of a wait. I'm gonna go try down at the restaurant. And she walks to the restaurant and comes back and says the bathroom was too full. She's gonna just have to sit in the car. And I just asked her, how does that change the situation? I don't understand, because I was waiting on her to come back. So that was her way of telling me that I'm not coming back. It's over. My social anxiety has been overwhelmed, and it's time for me to tap out of it. So that's just some funny stuff right there. Now I'll tell you this. One thing my wife told me that was really changed my perspective on how I interact with her. And obviously people have disagreements, but it's never anything too serious. But she told me that people with social anxiety, or people that deal with what she deals with, they have a difficult time with reading faces. And she told me that a normal face, like a blank face or even a little angrier face, can be perceived like, so this face I'm making right now, in her head, could be perceived that I'm making this face. And it was it was it was such an interesting thing, because I said, that's scary. No, that's a scary life to live, to have people's facial expressions be overly, I don't want to say dramatized, but just much more sinister or upset or disappointed, whatever the emotion might be, than it is in real life. And that could lead to a lot of confusion. You could always feel like you're the only person being looked at in the room. And I think that these types of situations that you could find yourself in with social anxiety, are things that people who don't have social anxiety would know nothing about. I wouldn't even be able to relate with my wife on that stuff and say, "Oh, baby, everything's gonna be okay." I know what it's like. I can't. That'd be ingenuine to me. All I can say is, I'm going to keep you safe. I'm going to keep you safe, and that is the reality of the situation. But I can't change how she's going to perceive anything. So, what I would say is this: if you're somebody who has a significant other that has social anxiety, the first thing that you need to do, even if you think they have it, try to get an official diagnosis, but learn about it, read about it, see if what symptoms apply, and even if you don't have to get the title, deal with the symptoms of it. I recommend this, and my wife is still dealing with it, so it's not a perfect solution. But all I can do is help the person who is dealing with that person. And I would say that you need to make sure you think about being patient, think about being empathetic or sympathetic. Just try to put yourself in their shoes. Try to hear them out. Have your ears open, your heart open. And a big thing of this is take yourself out of the equation as the victim. Because I started to think it was me that was the reason why she didn't want to go or do certain things, and I was just confused. I said, you know, I think I'm a relatively handsome. I think I'm a handsome young man. I smell good. I take care of myself. I present myself well when you're not around, so you don't have anything to be embarrassed about. But you just can't do it. What is it about me? And I started to have that in me where I was really going through it, and I'm like, with him, you know. And I had when we started having these conversations, she told me about the social anxiety. It all clicked, and I felt much better about myself, and I did not become the victim anymore, where it's me. At that point, it switched where it was, okay, I still need you to do certain stuff, but now I need to figure out a way to get you comfortable to do it, instead of making you think that you have to do it just for me. So don't be the victim of the situation. Just understand that it's something that you might not be dealing with. And if you also have social anxiety, go to therapy. Honestly, you really need to have somebody who can be a mediator if you are having a hard time communicating, because with stuff like this, every little thing, it's so sensitive, and every little thing that is said could have an impact that is remembered forever. So you don't want to say the wrong thing. You don't want to invalidate. You don't want to invalidate emotions of your spouse, and you don't want your emotions and your thoughts and feelings to be invalidated as well. So either. So I recommend, if you are both dealing with this and thinking the other one is not hearing you out, then go get help. It's okay. That is this. That is this video. What I will tell you is this. There are benefits, are weird benefits with social anxiety because with my wife, I think that she has a high level of discernment. She reads people. I read people, but she reads people to a different degree than I do. And she tries her best to make sure she's around people who she trusts and can really have a genuine relationship with, if that makes sense. So that she's I don't even know if meek is the right word. She's a sweetheart. She's not confrontational. There are certain qualities in it that you want in your wife. And my wife has those traits that make it easy for her to stay in her feminine and me to be in my masculine and keep her protected and make sure she has everything she needs. But me as the husband, one of the other things that I try to make sure I do is push her, motivate her, encourage her, get her out of the comfort zone. Like, okay, let's go meet some people. Let's go to this event. Even if we only go for 5 minutes, 15 minutes. You have to compromise. That's another thing. You got to compromise. So you have to see where can we meet in the middle. If I take you here, then maybe we can go to one of your favorite restaurants afterwards as a reward or just to do something that you want to do because I know you're doing something that I want you to do. And that's what a relationship is. It's compromise. It's push and pull. It's understanding responsibilities, roles, all of that stuff. If that all is difficult to manage when mental health is at play, if you are not aware of what needs to be done and you are not aware of all the side effects or even aware of the fact that somebody is dealing with a mental illness in the first place. So I hope this was helpful. This was just, I didn't really come in this one with a whole lot of information that I wanted to give you. It was more, I wanted to give you the perspective of what it's like on the other side. And hopefully somebody who's in the same situation as me can look at this and say, oh, okay, well, maybe my wife is dealing with this, or maybe this is how I can deal with my significant other better. Maybe this is how I can listen to them more. Maybe you are that significant other who has it. And you're like, oh, crap, this is what I'm dealing with. Or I don't know why I put that voice on. And Nancy, I just made a character named Nancy, just put that voice on. Or maybe you're Bill, and Bill is this big, tough guy with all the tattoos, but when he goes out, he's hiding because he doesn't want anybody to call him out for the fact that he got a Tweety Bird tattooed on him when he was 13. It could be anybody. So you just have to make sure that you are keeping people's emotions at top of mind, and especially with your spouse, you got to have some form of connection and some form of trust there. But that is it, y'all. This is a 22-minute video. I've made probably like 2.5 to 3 hours worth of videos in a row, and I'm getting sleepy. And guess what I got? I got my sleepy tea. I'm not sponsored, but Blueberry, if you're looking for a sponsor, I'm the guy. I want y'all to have a great one. If you like this content, if you like this video, if it was helpful, make sure you leave a like, comment, and tell me if you know somebody who deals with social anxiety. And if you know somebody who might be dealing with it, who might not know, share this video with them. If you know a spouse who has somebody that they are in a relationship with who deals with this, send this video to them. We need to start getting this content circulating, y'all. Let's get some shares going. Let's get some likes, some comments, all of that good stuff, so YouTube can see that there is value coming out of this and stop pushing the brain rot. We don't want more brain rot. We have enough brain rot, all right? So I want y'all to go ahead and subscribe to the channel as well. Hit that notification bell. Let me see if I can make the animation pop up. Why is it not popping up? Oops. There it is. Y'all have a good one. Keep fighting, be life. Peace.